Hi there, future P's. This is Wasim Asgar. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the US and Canada. I've authored several books on the topic of FE electrical and PE power exam preparation, and I also run popular exam preparation programs for FE electrical and PE power exams. So without further ado, let us dive into the content. What ends up happening, if you look at this, and this is from my lecture slide from my FE and PE program, when we are requesting, demanding, consuming 100 kW of real power. In all of these three cases, you can see that the real power is just 100 kW. But in the first case, the power factor is poor. It's 0.70 because in addition to the real power, I'm also asking for a whole bunch of reactive power. In the second case, the amount of reactive power that I'm asking has kind of shrunk a little bit, right? And in the third case, the power factor is 1.0. So that's perfect unity power factor with no reactive power being asked from the utility. What is the difference? The difference is that our line current is a function of our square root 3 line to line voltage dividing the apparent power. Should I throw in a cosine over here, guys? What do you guys think? Should I throw in a power factor? We are on the topic of power factor. Should I squeeze a cosine theta over here, right? Should I do a coin toss to figure that out? Should I look up the reference handbook? That would be a good thing to do. Look up the reference handbook if you're in doubt. But the cosine theta doesn't come into play because you're not dealing with real power. The cosine theta comes into play when we're dealing with the real power. Okay, so this is reactive. So I think it's easy to follow that as I decrease the value of the apparent power, right, from here to here to here, the value of the line current that is going to be flowing, right, on the lines. Let's say we have a delta load. Let's say we have a Y connected source. This line current value is dropping, right? And what is happening? The resistive losses, the voltage drop on the line is gonna drop because we are asking for less and less current. And who basically has to take care of this? The utility, right? So the utility can use smaller conductors if less current is going to flow through the conductors, which means that small conductors is going to be a cost saving for the utility. They can also use smaller transformer, right? Let's say this requires a 150 kVA transformer. This requires a 125 kVA transformer without any buffer, and this requires a 100 kVA transformer. Which transformer would the utility be more happy to install for you if they're simply primarily charging for real power? They would be happier to give you a smaller transformer because smaller conductors, smaller OCPT, and everything. So that's the benefit of power factor correction. You can use smaller transformers, you can use smaller conductors, and the power losses are going to reduce. This is a formula that's given in the reference handbook for P power. We can take a detailed numerical approach, but take my word for it. As the line current reduces, I square R losses can reduce, and you can actually just going from a 0.90 power factor to a unity power factor, the percentage loss reduction is up to 19%. This is significant. This is a benefit of power factor correction. I've got this small request for you. 77% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. That's a massive number. If this video is helping you out in any shape, way, or form, please do me a quick favor. Please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you will not miss out on any content that we've got planned, and it really supports the channel. The more advanced is voltage support. It is best understood with the help of vector diagram. Let me just tell you this. When I hook up a capacitor at the terminals of a bus, that capacitor is actually a source of reactive power. Since it's a source of power, it results in a voltage boost. So a capacitive load, we can actually have a situation where we have a load connected, source connected, let's say there's impedance in between. If I provide 95 volts through the source, and if this load is purely capacitive in nature, or it is overwhelmingly capacitive in nature, despite the fact that the source is 95 volts, I can get 100 volts or 105 volts or even more at the terminals because of the capacitor's voltage support, right? And there are formulas that sort of capture that. But the idea is that when we do power factor correction, we add capacitors in the mix within our load profile. We are able to locally boost the voltage as well. So you don't necessarily need the source to be cranked up, the taps to be increased, right? And to compensate for your voltage drop and whatnot. Your capacitor and your power factor correction will help you achieve just that. In my program, I go through this in a lot of detail with the help of power factor, with the help of phasor diagrams. It's an advanced concept, but there is actually a downside to this potentially, because if you leave the capacitors in the system connected and hooked up, and if you start reducing or removing the motor load, and if you don't do it properly, you can have an over voltage condition. An over voltage condition is detrimental to insulation. You can have a long-term insulation failure, and that can be problematic for your power system as well. So whenever you throw in capacitors, you have to be a little bit careful. There are issues with the resonance as well for harmonics, so that we discuss in power quality in the P-Power program. I hope you enjoyed this session. Throughout this session, I tried to explain you things using first principle, which is an unbroken chain of logical explanations rather than relying on fancy terminology and scaffolding to help you sort of memorize and sort of take a plug and chug approach. These are fine details. They're going to serve you well, not only with your FE electrical and computer exam preparation, but with the P power exam preparation. And with this clarity, basically comes the confidence that can help you save time, stress, frustration, and also unlock opportunities for you. The confidence that you gain from actual expertise and skills and competence, it shines through. It is very, very visible. You don't have to scream at the top of a mountain to tell everybody how competent you are. The way you conduct yourself in the meetings and the solutions that you provide, right? You will become the go-to expert, right? You'll have greater recognition. Early in the career, you guys probably know this, your progress is determined by your supervisors, right? By your managers, your likability, your professionalism, all of those things, punctuality, right? I'm talking about the first 5, 6, 7, maybe up to 10 years. In the long run, your growth is actually a function of the respect that you have amongst your peers, right? How many people are willing to follow you? How many people are willing to work with you? How many people are willing to sort of look at you as a leader? And that is a hard road to basically get to. Without competence, the confidence will never come through, and it becomes difficult. Okay, so if you want to adopt a learning mindset, and if you want to look at your FE electrical and computer exam preparation and the P power exam preparation with the goal of not just passing these exams, but with the goal of learning all of these concepts inside out and developing that competency and confidence, please consider my program at studyforfe.com. And there are different options over there. You can sign up for a monthly subscription, the on-demand, self-paced. You can get a 3-month access, a 6-month access. I conduct live training as well. And in addition to the self-paced program, on a weekly basis, we meet together and we basically work through the entire coursework in detail. Okay, both for FE Electrical and P-Power. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and thanks a lot for sticking around. Take care. Bye. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE Electrical and P-Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE Electrical and P-Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.